What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is the 14th week. I have with me a good friend of mine, Fleschner, who was actually on Pace's podcast about her short-term rentals, and her and I were talking about how she's been building her portfolio, expanding to new markets, and she's thinking about building a team here soon. So, Bree, why don't you just kind of kick us off and tell us kind of who you are and how you got here?
Yeah, so let me correct you. I wasn't on his podcast yet, but I was on his YouTube channel, which is still really cool. But yeah, so I'm Bree, the Dream House Girl. My vision has always been to, I guess, own a portfolio across the US, high travel destinations. My brand, the Dream Houses, is mainly targeted kind of towards women. They're very themed, unique, short-term rentals. I kind of thought of the idea off of like honestly my own personal like what do I want my future life to look like, which was having a portfolio of having that residual income coming in and having places that I can actually stay and travel and live in for however long that I really want. So instead of like paying for a hotel or somewhere else, another Airbnb, I'm just gonna buy those properties in the locations I want to travel and yeah, just kind of have it make money for me. And then I got my first property out here in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's where I'm at right now. Just working on a couple things, but that was January 2021, and I turned it into a super girly, like bachelorette themed house. Um, and it went viral, did absolutely amazing. Like the first 2 years was crazy. And then everyone else kind of caught up onto the theme of like, oh, like Scottsdale is a very like bachelorette space. Let's keep building more. So now there's like so many out here. So it's a lot of competition. So you're constantly having to either add or, just include more to your properties to like kind of just, uplift them and kind of compete against others. Yeah, so full on circle is finally got my first SubTo. So I joined SubTo in September and closed on my first one in January of this year. Turned that into like the second Airbnb that I own. That one's like a more Western vibe. So it's called the Desert Ranch. So the properties are going to have like the names to like their theme, wherever the location is, and just kind of just go with that to build like, I guess, a really big um, database of returning guests. Because yeah, I mean, there's some that's going to celebrate their birthday or bachelorette in Scottsdale, but do they really want to come back every year? No, they might want to like go to the one in Florida or go to Nashville or just go up to Charleston, have a girls' weekend, just something like that. So the idea is just kind of comes from like, okay, well, they know what they got with the first one. So they're going to want to support me because they see like I'm active on social media. They're like, okay, well, she's a real girl. She's not like this, 60-year-old man just trying to buy properties and paying a designer to design them. So they want to support me, which is really, really cool to experience. And yeah, or even just turn it into like every year, let's go to a different dream house. So that's kind of what I've been really focusing on right now. And yeah, now I'm going to start growing. So I've designed all my properties and I've managed a few others. So I've designed some for other investors and then managed their properties. And now I'm kind of focusing on growing my portfolio, as well as continue to grow, like help with the design to have more active income coming in for myself and then do the management side of things too. I recently partnered on a boutique hotel in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. We are starting renovations, I think this next month, actually. So I get to have a lot of say in the design for that. And a couple of the properties are going to be able to like fit the bachelorette girl theme as well, which is really, really cool. But I'm hoping to get more into the management side of boutiques hotels as well. So my main focus is short-term rental and boutique hotels. So much. There's a lot.
Yeah, you're doing a lot, but it sounds like you're getting it all under wraps because you said like you're in St. Louis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're in Missouri.
Yeah. So my hometown, St. Louis. I used to live out here in Arizona from 2019 until last year. And yeah, it was kind of just like a God thing. He kicked me out the door and said, "Hey, you're going back home." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'll listen." And yeah, just moved back home and closer to family and friends. And yeah, just seeing where the next, I guess, just journey will take me.
So what made you invest in those markets? I can understand why you picked Scottsdale because you said you stayed in Arizona for a while, but like what interested you in the market, the other markets that you're investing in?
So like Lake Geneva, Wisconsin,
Hmm.
like that market. So honestly, the opportunity just was like kind of proposed. Someone who was one of the partners, who's no longer a partner in there, he actually reached out to me, and I mean, we just had a just one-on-one conversation. I told him like my vision of the dream houses and like my marketing, the way I market the properties as well. And he's like, "Wow, this would be really cool. Like, you should come. Like, we'll talk to Carrie, the other person who's the other investor in the like who's the main investor, the leader of the boutique hotel." And yeah, it was just one conversation led to the other, and they loved just my idea and the way I can market. So we kind of built in like an equity position on like me being a key principal partner. So yeah, and it just kind of worked out. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not gonna. It's an amazing, amazing opportunity. So I was like, I don't care how much like split I have in this. How do I become a part of this? This is amazing. And honestly, it was more of like I just want to get my toes wet in this area. So I don't think it mattered if this specific property was like in Florida, in Texas, in Washington, like if it was still the same like vision, idea, and like opportunity, how much it can actually grow and make us in the future, I would have still done it just because it's just, experience. And I can actually say now that I own a boutique hotel.
So
Yeah,
did you do like a consult for equity on that one, or did you do a buy-in?
both.
Both.
Yeah.
And would
So I'm
you say that
I'm
like your
part of
social media
the,
presence is what led to them finding you in the first place?
no, it was through SubTo. Yeah. So it's just say, I mean, it's just posting what I do in subject to or in SubTo. Just all of our, connections that we have, and there's so many, and just building on those connections, and I don't know, it's just happened. It's cool.
Yeah, but I think people like underestimate that, like what you just said, like posting in the group and networking and building a brand for yourself in the group, even if you don't have one yet outside to the outward facing world is critical because that's how I networked with some 200 some odd people before Squad Up Summit from January to the end of April. And that's how Emma's networked with as many people as she has too. And that's the advice I give to everybody. So like I guess talk to that a little bit. Like what kind of things were you posting or talking about? Like what were you doing to build the relationships and stuff too?
Yeah. So I recommend like finding your key principle, like what can you bring to the table that someone else might need, you
Mhm.
know? And basically every time I would post, it was always like something just inspirational. Um, and kind of explaining like my goal with these short-term rentals. Um, so I like would just, tell my story a little bit, be 100% open. And yeah, mainly I guess really my first post was about closing on that, my first sub too. And then explaining like follow the journey. Like I'm on social media. I'm going to be posting almost daily, like of the progress. And so I got a lot of interaction with that. I got so many. It went. I guess you could say it went viral in the community.
Mhm.
Um, and so that was kind of like the first like touch of like, oh, who's this person? And then yeah, just started, I guess, kind of, just saying hello. Hey, I'm still here. I'm looking for this. I don't know. It's just being that key principle of like, okay, she's the expert of short-term rentals. She's really good at design. She's doing like these cool Airbnbs. So now whenever somebody does see them like in their market, they're actually sending them to me right away, or they're tagging me in all these properties, which is really, really cool. But I mean, yeah, it's just yeah, finding being able to be an expert in whatever you want to do, whatever you're really, really good at, be the best at that, and then start just being friends with people. Like, don't try to do business with them, be friends with them first and actually have genuine behind it and see what happens or where it takes you.
I love that because that's sort of similar. Well, that is basically the same approach that I took that, like I said, Emma and I have discussed that she's taken as well. Is it's like you make your posts and you add value first. Like, yes, you occasionally you ask for things, but it's jab, 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 right hook, right? Like you're posting value, whatever that is. Like for
The
me as an
value
entrepreneur,
for sure, yeah. Mm-hmm. And
like
that's
I
like
was an
social media
entrepreneur
as
for
well.
12 years. I didn't have any real estate experience. So I came in and was posting like integrator content when I first joined.
Mm-hmm.
And that was content that was extremely valuable because there's very few of us in the community.
Yeah.
And like you said, like I don't see hardly any other STR experts putting themselves out there. I know that there are a good amount of
Mm-hmm.
them in the community, but you've branded yourself that way that when I see somebody ask a question about STR, like I'm tagging Bree. Just like when somebody asks a question about TC work, like I'm tagging Emma.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
want to interject just for a moment. I'm also in top tier TC. And so recently, in a conversation with Molly and Ashley Mason, um, it was brought up about Ashley's journey and in her first experience coming into SubTo, because that was before top tier rolled out. And she said she tried to make it a point in every day posting what she learned that day because she felt like she had nothing to give the community yet because she knew nothing about creative real estate. And of course, they stopped her and they're like, "Well, that you did have something to contribute. You were a educator, and that was your background, and so you've had something to give. You just didn't know how to plug that in." So for anybody that's listening and they're like, "Well, I don't know how to contribute. I don't have my niche yet. I don't know what I'm focusing on." Just getting on and saying, "Hey, I messed up today, but I learned this from it." That goes so far in the community, being
Love
vulnerable,
that.
being open, and sharing what you've learned, because you'd be surprised at how many other people are like, "Oh crap, like I had that exact same experience, and I'm so thankful for you opening up."
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Yeah, I love that.
1,000%. They like I said, I didn't know what value I could bring either, but I knew that I had value, right? Like I had a coach back in the day that he always his phrase that he would tell us is your mess is your message. And it's like whether it's because you came from the depths of whatever you came from and you climbed your way up from rock bottom, or you've been really successful, it doesn't matter, right? It's about the fact that you have those experiences and you can teach people how to not hit those pitfalls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I know you talk about that a little bit on your Instagram too, Bree. Like, you were in not the best place like a year ago, and it sounds like
Yeah.
since you found stuff too, you found your tribe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's nice to have people at different levels, but still like seeing a lot of people at the beginning. But the difference between SubTo and like other master classes is like people are willing and wanting to help you. Like they want to be your friend. They have been there. And so they're like, like I have so many people I can just call up and, just vent about like, hey, I did this wrong. Like, how would you solve this problem? Like, it's just, I love the community so much. I like rave constantly about it to like everybody. Yeah. And it just kind of like, yeah, just like you said, found like my tribe, found just, I don't know. It's been a blessing for sure.
Oh, definitely. Because similar to your story, like I came out of one of the hardest years I had last year.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from a nasty car wreck that probably should have ended me to being scammed out of $7,000 on a truck and losing, family members and my longtime dog. It's like it's hard to come back from that. But that is the one thing I think that's special about our community is like that everyone just embraces everybody and they just love on you,
Yeah.
regardless of where you are or where they are.
Yeah. And that's something that I've learned recently too through like my stuff. And that I like, this is like the quote I use almost every single day. It's like I can either choose to be a victim of life or I can be the victor of my life. Which one am I going to pick today? Because only one's going to be able to win,
Yeah.
you know?
Just make a joke out of it. I just tell people, I'm like, look, man, I'm too stupid to quit. Right? You and I both know that like that's the smart choice is to not be an entrepreneur if you want to keep your sanity.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, I think it just depends. But yeah, it's crazy being an entrepreneur, running your own business, figuring things out. But definitely having community behind you to like that's been there. Someone's been exactly where you've been. So it's so nice to like know you're not alone in this.
Oh,
And you have people
totally.
who want you to be successful. That's even better instead of like tying you down, forcing you like, nah, you need to stay at your level.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of having that community, like you said, is all these people they're just around you and they just want to lift you up. And I've been in other business communities that they definitely don't do that.
Yeah.
So ours
Yeah.
is unique to say the least.
Yeah. So one of my other communities, I'm not going to say the name of it. But so I've been in that one. It was a really great like masterclass, like learning all the ins and outs of like real estate. And it's honestly it's women based, but so they like started back in like 2021, 2021 I think is when they started. And I got into it in 2022. But now they decided that you're not allowed to have your own business no matter if it's like even if it's like life coaching business you will get kicked out of the group even if you were like a lifetime member. And so it's like going into that if you're very successful in the space and you want to expand and grow, you're going to have to get out of the community. And it's just like, man,
Yeah.
then who am I looking up to now at this point? Am I just looking up to like the main, let's just say the pace of the group and no one else is allowed to be on their level? It's just like, dang, like why are you shutting down all these people's like success stories when you are the reason for their success? You're literally kicking them out of the community and no one's allowed to talk to them anymore. It's weird. So I think that's a lot of fear base for a community, I guess. But that's why another reason why it's like pace and everybody just wants you to be successful, wants you to actually like be a business owner, get after it, be a teamwork, like help others, forced to help others.
Grady said he might have a property for you on Mount Lemon.
What?
In the chat, Grady said he might have a property.
Oh, no way. Okay, well, you'll have to send it over to me.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
But that's what's funny about the community too, is like people are just so willing to offer you help and it's not like it's in a salesy way, right? Like he's like, "Hey, I have a property, you might be interested in it." Cool. Well, if you are, you are, and if you're not, no big deal.
Yeah,
No hard
yeah.
feelings.
I'll tell you why. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
one of my favorite parts about the community too, is like I came from sales. Like I did, all kinds of like door to door cold calling and whatever. And I got really used to the hard nose. And people in the community are so sweet. They're just like, no, it's not really the property for me, but like keep sending them. They're like, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. And you're like, dude, what?
Yeah, I
Like
know.
you're
It's like, man, I wish it would work if it was only like $50,000 less of an entry fee.
if it was only, 2 or 3 points higher on the cash on cash, like and it's like, no, dude, like you're not hurting my feelings. If you know somebody else you can bounce me to, cool. But if not, like I'm just gonna keep trucking along.
Yep, that's awesome.
How many properties are you up to now, Bree?
Honestly, okay, so I have two in the Scottsdale, and then I manage three others. I have the boutique hotel,
Mhm.
and then I'm finalizing a JV agreement for a Virgin Island property. I have been literally so closed off the last 3 months because I'm like, all I want to do is get a freaking Nashville property. I've literally like sent all like the properties that people have sent me. I'm just like, even if they're amazing deals, I've just been like, Nashville, I just want it to be done. Like I've been wanting to do Nashville for literally since I got my first one, so 3 years. And like I feel like it like and I just need it to be now. Like I don't want to wait. I don't want to like I don't know. I'm so like stuck in that headspace that like nothing else matters until I get this property. And that might be like, you know, trying to go too narrow. So it's probably like hurting my possible opportunities, but I know what I want to do with it. And the theme that I want to really like change it up into is going to be absolutely amazing and it's going to be like new, basically headline worthy property, you know? So it's going to explode my reputation and the brand name and also help any of my other properties. It's really going to grow like my social media following as well. So it's just like, it'll just be more of a marketing tool than a actual profiting Airbnb, if that makes sense. Even though it will be, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, but you're able to use it as a marketing tool to not just be profitable, but as a multiple, right? Like we talk about ROI all the time. That's what we do in SubTo. And those are the best investments, are the ones that you're not looking at like simple, small percentage-based returns, but you're looking at things that between the depreciation, the appreciation, you know, things that compound over time that you can get your return back in multiples. And marketing is the same way. Marketing is no different than, you know, like I said, tax incentives, like depreciation.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. 100%. That's what a lot of people don't realize too. And you know how I talked about like being a key principal partner. So the Virgin Island property, so the person I'm working with already owns that property. I met her through I guess someone in the SubTo community who made like a school account. And I just posted like, hey, this is who I am. Again, just like, hey, I'm Bree. I'm short-term rental. I'm trying to do this dream house idea to have all these, you know, cute, adorable, themed, fun, unique short-term rentals across the US. She actually reached out to me. So she used to live there. It used to be her primary residence. She moved back to Georgia um, to take care of her parents full time. So she's their primary caregiver and she just has this property sitting there. She would love to like short-term rental it, but she doesn't have any time. She doesn't know how to even like even really get it listed. So she would have to pay like a management company and then it's still like still needs work. She needs money to like fix the pool. So there's a pool on site, like all these little things. And I'm like, okay, great. Like I can actually take care of all of this for you. I can bring in some capital. I can design the entire thing and then I can manage it for you. So literally like you can just get paid. That's it. All you like, I'll just send you money every single month for an equity position in the property. So instead of like trying to go find and close on a property, I'm coming in as this key principal, helping a struggling real estate investor who just doesn't have time, doesn't know the market. I mean, I guess she knows the market, but just doesn't understand Airbnb at all. So now I'm obtaining a property at a very low, you know, pay-in, buy-in, and I get a nice equity position in it. So it's like I own something without even trying too hard to do it, you know?
Well, that's an offer that has so much value stacked in it that you would be stupid to say no to that offer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then who
Makes me
knows?
want to go find a Nashville property, so then I can just come to Bree, be like, "Hey, Bree, help me."
Well, yeah, exactly.
She's like, "Well,
Exactly. I
you know, I
mean,
wouldn't be
yeah, that's
opposed to
so
that."
what?
I said, "You're like, well, I wouldn't be opposed to that."
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Nashville for sure. But yeah, so that's like just another like business model that I want to like continue to, just get out into the world. And I need to I've done such a bad job of posting in the community of SubTo as well, just because I've been trying to again focus on this Nashville deal, really hone in on what I want my business model to look like, as well as setting up the correct people in place to grow my management, grow the design business, and really see where it goes. Becomes just be successful before even trying. And that's probably something I shouldn't worry about. I should you know, just take action, and fail forward if I mess up, if I don't have the right person in place.
Well, that and the funny thing about failing forward is I think there's most of the people that are watching either A, don't it's like playing the wrong note, right? Like they have no idea how to play music in the first place. So if you play the wrong note, like they don't know.
Yeah,
The
sure.
people that do know are still cheering you on because you got up and did it anyway.
hmm Yeah.
But also going back to an earlier point you said about Nashville, like what the way I would look at it is the way I would determine if your focus is too narrow or not is the space and the mindset that you're coming at it from, right? Like because somebody said the other day that desire is just the contract that you make with yourself that you're going to be unhappy until you achieve the thing.
hmm
So I would say like yes, it's one thing to want it, it's one thing to long for it. It's another thing to like literally make yourself miserable until you get it.
mm True. Yeah, exactly. It's just I think I've been negotiating with 3 different properties in the area, and I keep going back to it's like it's extremely hard to find a SubTo or creative deal in that space because one, it's extremely hard to get into. Um, just having a short-term rental permit, they put a lot of rules and regulations in place, but you can still easily like work around them if you know what you're doing and how to do it. So it's either, okay, well, do I want to buy something? So I'll have to like basically do like a DSCR loan or whatever. Um, do I want to buy something that's closer, that's going to be like over $1 million? Or am I okay with just going a little further out of like the inner city and basically pay half that, and hopefully it's still going to be just as successful, like if is the theme going to be so amazing that people are going to just be straight up booking my place through my social media, which I mean that's the end goal anyway, is to have that. So I'm like doing a lot of like just spiraling in my own head, trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the right path instead. And I've been like cutting myself off and honestly self-sabotaging because I'm like constantly questioning my own knowledge almost, because either way it'd be successful. It's just there's so many other little details like that also are included. Like if I am going closer into the city, yeah, I'm paying the most, I'm paying a pretty penny for it, but also it's going to appreciate a lot quicker because you can't keep building closer to the city. You can only keep building further out, less competition. Most of the properties have rooftop decks. Um, so like in like the closer properties, you're going to be able to see the skyline of the city, which that's an unbeatable, like you can't get that anywhere else either, like there's very only few properties that are like that. So it's just another added benefit on getting closer. So it's, what I'm trying to say here. Like that's why I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
you're
I wish I
battling
could go.
yourself, and I think that's part of the imposter syndrome that comes with like you said, you have already kind of proven yourself to be that STR expert, but it's like when these moments you have those moments of doubt, and then it's your self-sabotage after self-sabotage after self-sabotage.
Mhm. Yeah,
And it
pretty
sounds
much.
like you probably know what the right answer is. You just haven't picked it yet.
Yeah, I know there's 2 properties that I'm looking at, and I'm like debating on going down to actually walk through them. Like on Thursday when I get back to St. Louis. So possibly, like I just need. That's the thing. I just need to. I know what I'm doing. I know I know exactly. Like I know whatever I choose is going to be successful. So like, why not choose something that's just a little more affordable right now? Get up and running. Again, it is more of a marketing tool than it is like, is this going to make me $5,000 a month? Maybe. Could he make me even more? But yeah, I feel like maybe choosing something that's a little further out because of what I'm doing and the theme that I'm going for is going to be fine. So I need to stop questioning
Well, and I
myself and I
think,
need to just take action.
yeah, yeah, that's
I
probably
thank you
part
guys
of
for
it.
coming to my therapy session. I appreciate you all being here.
Well, that's what people come to me a lot of times for is like they're like, I need help getting out of my own way, and I know you're not going to bullshit me. And it's like, you're right. And I
Mhm.
oftentimes have to tell them that you already know the right answer, you just haven't picked it yet. And as soon as I said that, you knew. You're like, yeah, well, it would still be successful either way. But I think where a lot of us get stuck is we end up in this like dichotomy, and it's a fault dichotomy at that, right? Like just because you buy one further out doesn't mean you can't buy one closer into the city later, or vice versa.
Yeah, literally just upgrade, you
You
know, sell
you
it,
could do both.
move over, or do both. Yeah, never know. Exactly. Yeah. So, mm, so much, so many options. But yeah.
Well, and that's the paradox of choice, right? Is like more people are happier with less options. And that's the one thing about creative finance is it's also creative income. Like you can get paid however you want, you
Hmm.
know? Like right now, like I was telling you before we started recording, like I'm doing a consulting gig. That's through skills I picked up being in SubTo.
Yeah.
And I have my hands in a little bit of everything, but it's not because my attention split, it's because I enjoy doing different things at different times.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what you're gonna do with the boutique hotel though too.
Oh, yes. It's gonna be good. You want me to talk a little bit about it? Tell you
Yeah,
what it looks
let's do it.
All right. So, okay. So it is like a half mile from the lake, actually. So Lake Geneva, it's like an hour west of Chicago. So it's a really like touristy destination for just like locals, like in that state, as well as like Chicago, a lot of like Iowa. And it's a really great destination for bachelorettes, bachelors, and like even weddings. So the property is sitting on 3.5 acres. It's all like split prop or like units. So there's a 13 unit building, kind of like a motel, like just think of like a motel style. So 13 unit building. On the other side, there's a 6 unit building. There's a 4 bed, 2 bath main house in the middle, which we would probably do like that would be the what's the word? I guess lobby, you could say. It's kind of like the lobby. So we'll do like a cool like coffee nook in there with like a little kitchenette. So people can like actually cook and maybe even like a pool table in there, some games, a little library. And then also people will use like the upstairs for actual living space as well. And then behind the 6 unit, there's a duplex, which is a 2 bed, 1 bath each. And then in the far back, there's actually 8 mini cabins that are kind of like studio style. So they'll have, their own little space and then a bathroom and a little kitchenette area as well. And then there's also a pool. And then there's so much land to like grow and either add on more cabins. We're talking about doing a doggy park, a playground for kids, even like a wedding venue in the far, far back. And then obviously we have to add in pickleball. It's going to be a pickleball court, some bocce ball, fire pits.
Y'all
It's
getting
a
bougie.
really beautiful property. What'd you say?
I said y'all getting bougie.
You have
Yeah,
to.
pickleball and
I feel like pickleball really isn't that bougie. It's literally just a concrete surface with lines and a net.
it's not, but it's more like the idea of it's something new and so it's technically still novel right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you would be like on that trendy hotels like list of like, oh well, your hotel might have a courtyard with a fountain, but guess what? We have pickleball.
Exactly. No, for real. That's like if you're ever getting into Airbnb, you got to make sure like you're adding or short-term rentals as a whole.
In
That's like
general, yeah.
boutique hotels, just Airbnbs, just all that. You have to add so much more value now if you want to really stand above the rest. Like there's so many people just doing it and they probably bought at a really good time. So they don't care if they make a lot of money. Like it's still technically a lot of money for them if they just, only have half their calendar fixed. But like if we're buying today and it's not like a SubTo deal, like that interest rate is killing so much of your profit. So what are you going to do to your property to really make it better than the competition? So adding the pickleball court, adding that like lobby, being able to do even, like the wedding venue, like that's just going to add so much more profit.
Well, and that is a perfect segue because, like, what are some of the things that you're doing, across some your properties that differentiate you from all the other ones?
So that's a great question too. Having themed properties, that already is kind of like the start of it. So really tailored to more, Instagrammable features. So I actually paint all my murals. So just having photo opportunity spots within the properties, as well as I usually have like makeup stations. Again, this is just dependent on the location. Every location is different. So I don't know if I would do like a whole like vanity makeup spot in like a property in Florida because really they're just going to the beach. They're not, maybe in Miami I will, but like, they're not really getting ready to go out and party, again, depending on the location. So we have makeup vanities. Um, I what else do I do? I try to fill the spot spaces with a lot more beds too, instead of just having like one bed to a room. Like we'll do like a king, like actual master suite kind of thing. But I'm starting to try to stay away from like bunk beds because those are kind of like cringe. If they're more built in and easy to get up on, that's a lot better than just the metal, Wayfair bunk beds. I will say that.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, having like a couple full beds into like the room just to add more sleeping options for them. Always set up like, you always have to do like coffee bar and everything. I always buy like super cute, fun little like saying mugs. Um, and then I do provide a lot of things. So like I'll provide like actual ponytails, makeup, remover wipes, just all the like the little toiletries. I don't know. There's so much.
That's a white glove service if you're a girl. Like this is the epitome of where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, like, as long as they bring their clothes with them, they'll be 100% like stacked. Like they got their good shampoo, conditioner, you know, curling irons, hair blow dryers, all that. I don't know.
Well, and what I love about that is that you really kind of honed in on your avatar because most people try to be everything to everyone and are nothing to no one, right? Like
Hmm.
I might not have the best time staying in one of your Airbnbs, but that's okay because it's not catered to me.
Oh, you would though. We get guys staying all the time and they love it. Just might be a little pink.
Oh, really? Is that
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
I could see that. I could definitely see everything being pink, he says as he's wearing like a salmon colored shirt.
There you go. Fits perfect.
I was never afraid of it. We had when I was in college, we had this we always had to get dressed up for the fraternity stuff, and I had this
Mhm.
pink tie, and that was like the moniker. And all the guys tried to make fun of me, but when we'd walk through a student center, all the girls would be like, "I like your tie."
That's cute.
It
I
was
love
awesome. It was epic. I think you also need to come down here and visit because we have so many different like themed hotels and
it.
themed boutique hotels. I mean,
Where are you again?
New Orleans.
Okay. Oh yeah. You guys have all that stuff. That's fun.
It's just a different kind of theme. So like I could see if you were to do a themed Airbnb here, like, right, you'd probably play on the history and like the hauntedness and the spooky stuff as opposed to like the desert ranch, like the one you
Mhm.
have in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
In
Oh
fact,
yeah,
the
definitely.
boutique hotels, they're all owned by like one collection. They call it the J collection,
Oh,
but each one is themed after like different historical figures.
that's really cool. I'll have to check them out for sure.
There's one that I used to frequent a lot. It's called the Hotel Mazarin. I forget who, I think Mazarin was like a prominent member in the Catholic Church. Um, but he had like historical ties to the actual street.
Hmm.
And on the backside of the hotel, they have the 21st Amendment bar, which was literally like a speakeasy
That's freaking insane. That's so cool.
with like prop Tommy guns hung across the top of the bar with like the mobster's portrait and everything. Like it's interesting.
That's
So
freaking awesome.
so you'll definitely have to come visit because it'll get your creative juices flowing.
Oh, for sure. I love looking at all the different like um different properties. Like I follow so many like hotels and little Airbnbs on social media.
Oh, I bet you
Just
do.
get a little bit of ideas. Like, oh yeah, I want to do. I'm gonna add that to one of the properties.
Well, that's the best thing to do, right? Is to just copy what works and to just steal like an artist. Like you see what other people are doing, right? You never copy it word for word, but you're like, okay, well, I bet you that concept could work over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What kind of stuff have you found just from like following those people that you've added?
Um, I honestly, it's just, it's, I mean, it's all kind of almost the same. It's really just like different like wallpaper designs or like layout of like the houses or, um, like the really cute one, Rob Abasolo, like, what's her name? Was it Bridget Bitch? Like what she did with his pink pickle property.
Oh
Like
gosh,
he had or she put in a light that whenever you press the button, it'll like spin this disco ball and then it'll start playing what is it, Dancing Queen or something like that.
that's hilarious.
Yeah. And I was like that, yeah, I mean, you've seen it done before in like other places, or not really other places, but even like in movies and stuff, or even like music videos. So like it's obviously has been done before. It's just I haven't seen anyone actually execute that in a property yet, which I'm sure they have. I just haven't seen them. But yeah, it's just like that's just so fun, unique, different, cool. Like that's awesome.
I'd probably just install a prank switch, like they'd hit the light switch and they'd all get rickrolled.
It literally says like do not press this button. And
Yeah, that's
so
what I would do. I'd put like the cartoonish, like the red button in the
Mhm.
plexiglass case,
Yeah.
and when they press it, they get like rickrolled.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
But I mean, like you said, everything can have its own theme, and it can all have its own level of entertainment. And some of that might be, relaxation and decompression,
Yeah.
which is a theme, right? Just like the people like the haunted and spooky and the goth vibes, or some people are just pranksters.
Yeah, there's actually one that there's a property in Salem. It's a boutique hotel, and every room is like super immersive. So like you walk in there, it's like you're in this circuit, like haunted circus. And I'm just like, man, I don't think I mean, I get it being in Salem and stuff, but like, I don't think I could stay in a hotel with a clown in literally with like literally sleeping next to me, basically. Like
No,
that just
I think
freaks
I'm
me
good.
out. But it's a really, yeah, it's a very unique, like they did a really, really good job on it. But I'm just like, I don't know.
They do that here with the plantation homes too. Like there's a couple of them they've turned into like resorts, so they don't really even resemble what they could have been in the past. But like the Myrtles plantation is supposed to be like one of the most haunted places in the country, and it's an hour and a half from here. I've been there a handful of times, and the GM's super cool. He's like, "Oh yeah, You know, people like bring like balls and video cameras and tripods and stuff so they can go play with the ghosts in the hallway. And like, you know, like I don't think I'm gonna take you up on that one.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm not about the ghosts. But does anybody have a question? No?
Some
I think for
sometimes
me, my question for you is that I have always wanted short-term rentals. Like that's like
Mhm.
that's a part of me. I've always wanted to own something and kind of host. My husband, on the other hand, is very lenient. So we have this debate in our house of like, can we do short-term rentals or is he going to win over and we do more co-living or long-term rentals? So have you talked to anybody kind of in this kind of like situation where they're trying to decide? And if so, like what would you say to help sway to answer that question? Like
Yeah,
what made you lean toward short-term rentals?
I think it just depends on the property, to be honest. Location of property. I will only buy in high travel destinations. Like I will not like I don't even really see myself actually buying something in St. Louis that for short-term rentals just because of the bad reputation. St. Louis is gone. Um, but I would possibly buy something that's closer to the wineries. That's very like wedding oriented. But yeah, like I've always wanted to do the short-term rentals, and it fit my lifestyle. It's exactly what I wanted to do. I don't like even Pace. He's like, don't do short-term rentals. Don't do short-term rentals. Like they're out of it. Like there's too much competition. And I'm just like, cool Pace. Yeah, you keep telling people that so I can keep on making my way in. But yeah, so I think it just depends on the location. You have to really analyze the property. There's so many properties that can still make an absolute killing. So, I mean, one way that you guys as a family could do is even just buy a vacation home and do like 10% down, um, and actually travel in it. Like that's your vacation
Right.
home. I don't know what your lifestyle, your family, like for me, like I want to raise my future family in like all over the US. Like I want to be able to like homeschool them and we go travel to Florida and live in Florida for a couple months and then go back out to Arizona during the winter and live in there. Like it's part of my lifestyle and what I wanted. I think short-term rentals still absolutely amazing. Again, depending on where it's located and the return you can get on it. Um, but yeah, so it's just, I mean, if you have something like a property that comes up, like I'm happy to analyze it for you and be like,
Awesome.
yeah, it would do great for this. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think
right now we live in San Francisco. We don't know how long we'll be here for, but my husband and I, we spend a lot of time in Oregon and Washington State. And he's been talking about how you'd love to have property on the coast in Oregon specifically.
yeah,
And I'm like, that's a great rental. You just have to know that it's the right location.
yeah,
It just can't be any beach town. It has to be a beach town that's frequented a lot by tourists. And then we have to have the understanding that those months that the weather is absolutely beautiful, that's going to be the months that we probably won't use that property, right? Because we want to get the most out of it that we can.
yeah,
Um, which we don't mind the foggy season. Like it's absolutely beautiful being at the coast and having the fog. So
mm,
that's one of the areas that I could see that we would have a short-term rental. But like you, I mean, I would love to have them all over. I'd love to be able to travel any given time and know that I have a property. Texas is one of those areas that is near and dear to my heart because that's where I'm from, Oklahoma, and most of my family is in Texas. So it's like, well, if I had something that was there, anytime I was going to see grandma and grandpa, we would
have
have a
it.
locate,
You
have
can do it.
something. Um, so we'll see what happens with that. I think the tricky thing with the property that I've had in mind in that area is that it's more military and not necessarily tourist destinations that I'm seeing. And so I don't know if it would really cash flow as a short-term rental. It'd probably be best if I was thinking more of like a midterm rental or insurance or some other exit strategy versus a short-term rental in those areas.
Yeah. I mean, what if you found just was able to find something that was creative deal and
Mhm.
it was, it would be successful still as your short-term rental,
Yeah,
even with after like the overhead and everything of managing it,
yeah,
like there's that option too. So it's just finding the right property for sure
right.
and making sure it cash flows regardless.
For
But
sure, for sure.
Well, then, Emma, what kind of, I would clarify between you and your husband, like what kind of experiences do you want to provide, right? Like,
Right.
because it, what problem are you trying to solve at the end of the
mhm,
Yeah,
day?
yeah,
Midterm rentals can be really good for, like you're saying, for people that want to stay more than short term, and maybe that's something that tugs at your heartstrings. Like maybe you've been displaced by whatever, and insurance had to put you up for 3 to 6 months while they
right,
rebuild your home.
mhm.
But similar to Bree, like I like to entertain.
right.
I don't have the patience right now to deal with a short term rental unless I had a partner
Try to
like,
come in.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Unless I had a partner like Bree, then I would
Yeah.
totally do it.
Yeah,
I'd
Yeah.
do it
And
any day of the
one thing
week.
too, so sorry, finish.
I would do it any day of the week. But at the end of the day, that's something that's near and dear to my heart. So it just depends. Like if you're trying to solve like affordability or like I said, insurance displacements or any of the other number of problems that you can solve with long-term rentals, Section 8, sober living, co-living, so many exit strategies now, it's not funny. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Really.
know that I have a strategy that I want to do, but it's a probably good 10 plus years out and that I'm passionate about. And that's because I have a Down syndrome child. So child with another disability, other ability. And I've seen where, they reach adulthood. And I would love to be able to prepare my child to be out on his own, but he's not going to ever have his own home. So if we had a property where he managed it and he had a room, but he had, you know, roommates, if you will, that were helping offset that cost, that's something that I could get behind and be very passionate about. I don't know how many of those that I would want to own, but I'm not looking to start that really until he's at least in high school. And like I said, he's just now in kindergarten. So we have
Yeah.
some time to gear there. And so that means that this time, and then the next 10 years is really more about getting ourselves at that secure point of finances and having our portfolio build up so that when that time comes, we don't have to be as picky about where the property is. We can find a property that's close to us that we're comfortable with in a neighborhood that we're completely comfortable with, leaving him there and not worrying about anything.
is there a particular reason why 10 years? Because I find most people set really, really long-term goals almost as like their way of just pushing it off into the
Yeah.
infinite horizon.
Yeah. Because I think that's an amazing need for sure. Like I have one of my dearest friends, she went through a stroke when she was a baby, and so she's still functioning, just
Yeah.
does, struggles with one arm, but like her husband is also has Downs and they function together. Like
Yeah.
she's a very high functioning human, or I guess more high functioning human. But like she can't drive, but she does have like there's someone that comes in and like she'll cook, but then like the caregiver will occasionally be there for them
Right.
and just to watch over them, and like her parents bought them that it
Right.
was a townhome, so that they can have their own space and everything. But I think that's an amazing that's amazing. I
Yeah.
love that so much. Keep me posted on that
For
because I
sure.
would love to maybe even like dive more into that with you in the future for sure.
That would be awesome.
I
Definitely.
think I think that's very, I don't think anyone's doing that, to be
No,
honest.
they're not. I,
Yeah,
I
it's very rare that I'm hearing it in the community. I know that it's out there, and because I'm all these um, neurodivergent podcasts that I'm a part of, and then I listen to just to gain knowledge as to be his mom and be the best mom I can be. I hear that those things are happening, those things are out there, but I haven't really heard about it surfacing in SubTo or in our community yet.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I'm sure you're right too. That's really cool.
yeah, that's something I would help you with too. Like I had a benign pituitary tumor at 18 months old. I still have the scar from it. So I basically suffer similar to Bree's friend. Like it looks like I had a stroke because this arm is not fully usable. but I was fortunate enough that I was still able to like drive and have gone on and done all kinds of crazy things since then. But that would be my challenge to you, Emma, is like take that 10-year goal and like
Shrink it
condense that
down.
timeline
Yeah.
immensely. Like give yourself an impossible timeline, because what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna get fired up about it. You're gonna go into those communities, you're gonna go onto those podcasts. And if you tell yourself you can do this in 6 months, you can. And even
Right.
if you fall short of it, like you're gonna be so much closer to that goal than you would be, even in a year if you had set it for 10 years.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just thinking about that, I mean, I love that you're pushing me to think outside the box. Right now, what I should be doing is I should be learning everything that there is out there about uh, government support for these kind of housings and what is their disability support and the finances that they're getting, or what are those regulations to have a home like this, right? If I'm doing all that research, then I can start to narrow down what my buy box is and what
Exactly.
areas. And then I need to probably narrow it down further. Instead of looking for, like you're looking for an area where there's tourists and a major destination spot. I'm looking for places that are near, Down syndrome networks and hospitals that cater to their abilities, that kind of area, because that's going to probably be where a large majority of people are gather gravitating towards, right? Because they need to be near their services. So then that narrows down my area. Once I can align those two, then I know when I see a wholesale deal, or I'm having somebody out there being my bird dog, if you will, like to find that property, it'll make it a lot easier than just swimming through the 1,000 posts that are in our community every day and not knowing if it's a good deal for me or not.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's like analysis paralysis at that point.
Yeah.
Well, be prepared that there might not be anybody that's doing what you do,
Mm-hmm.
and you might have to cut the red tape yourself, but that's
Yeah.
okay. Like,
Right.
like I said, just join those communities, talk to those people, listening to those podcasts, maybe even try to be a guest on those podcasts, like
Yeah.
network with those people. Because I don't think you're that far off. Like I have a customer, him and his son are both wheelchair bound. They have a fully handicap accessible house, like
Yeah.
automated doors. They have a fully handicap accessible van that they
Yeah.
can get around in full in-home care. Um, and I don't remember what their condition is. It's not Downs, but I want to say it's MS
Yeah.
because they're both wheelchair bound.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're that far off from it. And
Right.
honestly, even if you just make the property and you make it to whatever the regulations are, even if you don't get the government assistance right away, I'm sure that people would do that for private placement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm
you.
going seeing Gwendolyn's comment in the side. She's asking, like, what other things do you consider after location? One of the things I would consider in that moment would be, is it handicap accessible, right? Is the neighborhood, are there ramps to be able to get up on the sidewalk? The house, is the door frames a little bit wider so that wheelchairs or anybody with a walker can get in? The showers, like, can you walk straight into the shower, or is there going to be an issue getting over that
Mhm.
tub, right? So those are some things that I would be really focusing on. And if it's not, if it's in the house and a renovation can fix it, is that in my budget? But if it's in the neighborhood, then that might be like a deal killer for me, because I don't know what the ability of the individual coming into this house is going to be. Are they going to be walking, or are they going to be in a wheelchair? And so those are things that I would have to consider.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And coming from just like a straight up, you know, party house. I'm just kidding. Short-term rental, just again, it just depends on location. Like for Nashville, I'm only looking at like 4-bedroom pluses because I want the biggest return on my investment. So I'm trying to, I just want to basically pack the house. So it's actually more affordable for these guests who are going to be bachelorettes or girls' trips to stay in the house. So, just the more bed count, the more money you're going to make in general.
Are you putting a lot of queen size beds in there, or are you doing some like twin size beds? Like, how are you furnishing them to get the most out of your room count?
I mean, it just depends on what the bedroom looks like, I guess, or the size.
Mhm.
Um, I prefer to do fulls over twins. Because if you can do two fulls, you can really only do three twins, if that makes sense. Like you have to have spread, you have to like piece it out. And I know
Yeah.
some people, do you convert the garage? Yes. I actually did convert my garage as well. It used to be my bunk room, and I took the bunks down. And now I have three full beds that line up. It's really, really nice. It looks amazing. I'm like, man, why didn't I do this sooner? And then like the Nashville one I'm looking at right now, it does have a garage, and I was going to turn that into a actual like kind of like a livable space. Like I won't have bedrooms in that garage, but like I was thinking of like doing a stage and like a couch and like a game room and that, because Nashville doesn't get too hot or too cold. So just having a like a little space heat, not space heater, but I forget what they're called.
Like a little wall furnace or something,
Yeah, something
or
like that.
radiator.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever.
You know what I'm trying to say, but
Little in-room
it
unit
just
kind of.
depends on the property, really.
Do you have like a top 5 checklist you go through? Like you said, obviously location's number one. So what are the factors that you look at kind of after location?
Um, Bed counts, pool. Does it have a pool? Um, Honestly, like the layout of the house, or like does it look a little bit more older or newer? If it's older, I'm probably gonna have to do a lot more work in the future. Um, what else do I look at? Obviously, how far it is to, you know, other things. Like how far is it to like a Starbucks, the airport. Those things do matter. Um, because yeah, like let's just say like Austin, Texas. It's a big city, but maybe being on the east side where that's where all the hustle and bustle is better than going on like the south side of things. Um, yeah. I mean, any property really can work, but it's just like what are you trying to do with it, I guess. It's really, really hard to explain. And it's more of just like my vision as a whole. And obviously it's
Yeah.
always I'm gonna design it and make it like really fun and cute and everything too. So I don't really care if the inside needs work or not, as long as it's not too much work. But again, that's a preference. It's just a preference.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you just had like a list of priorities that you kind of go down, right? Like if that you've ranked them in that order. So if it's locations first, right? Because that does make sense. Like with a short-term rental, that's what I would be looking at if I was staying there. Is like how close is it to the thing that I'm trying to do,
Yeah.
whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. And
and
then yeah, just bed counts, bath counts. Yeah. I mean, that's really like it just everything else kind
layout,
of
pool,
is
kind of, and all the
irrelevant.
other stuff kind of
Yeah.
fall like on the lower side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Location, location, location.
I was reading Hormozy's book lately, and like you could totally, what I think you could do with that is you could totally turn that into like a checklist or into like a short little ebook or a PDF and use that as a lead magnet.
Oh yeah. I know the owners, I mean, yeah, I guess you could. The owners club did their thing this week and everything. They had
Hmm.
like Russell Brand come in and talk to them about, doing like the whole like free ebook just
Oh
to
yeah,
continue
Brunson,
like what?
Russell Brunson.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, the
I
him.
don't think Russell Brand's releasing ebooks.
Sorry, yeah, you knew what I meant. That's funny. Yeah, so he's gonna like they just taught people like how to like, basically do that and to get more contacts and people like wanting to work with you because you're giving them enough, but not the whole package kind of thing. So I don't know.
I'm just saying, I think you could do it because you're a wealth of knowledge, and especially in the STR space.
Hmm.
So you could totally package something up, make it look cute, put it in your Instagram bio, be like, hey, if you guys want to learn more with, or if you want, these are all the things that I would want to know before I manage your property. could be a good way for you to get more JVs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I might look into that. I need to get the management and design business actually rolling. But I agree. That's definitely, one thing that, I could tie up the JV agreements with for sure. Or like,
Well,
like, oh, this is how you analyze a property. Use this. And then they're like, okay, then what? This is how you buy it.
What platform are you using? Are you using do you just go to Airbnb? Are you on like Guesty?
So I have a host away like main PMS system, and then VRBO and Airbnb is like what I'm mainly on. I know eventually, or especially with like the boutique hotels, we'll go on like, hotels.com and like booking.com and expand in that sense. But it's there's no need for it right now where I'm at. Just continue to grow my social media and have more direct bookings is what I prefer to just focus on instead of like having all these different random outlets of
I
possible,
love that.
you know.
yes, that's your one centralized hub is the PMS system, and then it just manages your listings through there.
Yeah. You have all the little additions, like having a noise aware account and then having your ring set up through there, or your, oh my God, I'm blanking on my pricing tool, Price Labs, and my cleaners are also hooked up to that. So it's all like, it's so nice and just like all in one kind of thing.
Well, let me know when you're ready to set up the lead magnet because I can help you set that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. It's
Yeah.
not that, I don't think it'd be that hard.
Okay.
Probably just put you on Zoom, let you talk for a while, take a bunch of notes, and then just type something up and throw it into a landing page.
Oh my gosh, that's literally the hardest thing for me to do is like I get so distracted and it takes me forever. And I'm such a perfectionist that like for me, like the marketing and the details and how pretty it looks is like would take me the longest. And then after that, I'm just like, I'm over this. I can't get it to the way I want it. So just having someone do it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the content of it that matters, right? Like
Oh
that's
yeah.
something that Emma and I talk about all the time because I do a lot of capital raises too. And it's like so many people are so worried about the the marketing of their borrower package
Yeah.
instead of the contents. And then they end up missing like some of the most critical details like the purchase price, close of escrow, or ARV.
Yeah.
Like, dude, how do you miss that? That's the first questions the PMLs are gonna ask.
My noise checker, bookings and prices. What I use, what is it? Price Labs for pricing tool. I use, what am I using right now? What is it? Noise aware is the noise monitor. And I only like it again, depending on the property, I'll use those. I have really annoying neighbors that like they're like in one, but actually the property that I'm in right now, this is one I manage. Their next door neighbor is not a nice person and is not happy that there's a short-term rental, and she's very extra. So to protect myself and my owner, we have a noise aura system outside. So if it does go off, it actually is supposed to automatically send a message to the guest like, hey, turn it down, you're a little too loud. But then whenever there is no issue and it's not above the noise level, but I get a message from the neighbor bitching at me because it's too loud or they're partying in the middle of the day, whatever. And I'm like, well, the noise is actually below normal level. I don't know what you want me to do, lady. And then I have proof if anything were to happen, like she calls the cops. And yeah, I'm on good terms with the cops now. They just send me a text message and they're like, hey, can you just tell them to turn it down? It's like, already did, man. All good here.
They're
It's
like, Karen has reached out again.
Yep. It's like, I swear it's so sad. I think she's just kind of like a bipolar a little bit because she'll send us nice messages too. Like, oh my God, you had the best guests. Like, she's crazy.
Yeah. Well, everybody has those bad neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. My other properties, I have amazing neighbors, but also whenever I do present or I'm like, I move into a new place, I try to be friends with them. Like either write them a note or like bring them a nice little gift basket, and I'll be like, hey, like this is going to be an Airbnb, but your comfort is my absolute top priority. Here's my number. Let me know like if you have any issues, and then hopefully that like I want you guys to be more comfortable than my guests. So just let me know if you have issues. And that usually kind of breaks the ice. And yeah, my other neighbors are absolutely amazing. No issues there. But it happens. Like I've seen so many people like they get out of their Airbnbs because of neighbors. It's just constant nuisances and what can you do?
Yeah, well, like I said, that I guess it goes back to your location rule. Neighbors can also be included in location. If you have too many bad neighbors, I imagine it's probably just not a fun time.
Right. I mean, it's just a hassle. It's like, what do you do? Especially if your guests are okay, like there's no issues with them. Because that's like, I mean, again, like this lady next door is just, you can tell she is not happy with her life. And it's so sad. And so she just wants to hurt ours or the guests. And it's bad. But yeah, there's nothing you can really do about it if they're, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say is hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a perfect definition of it.
Something
Um,
happens like that. It looks like you answered her next question, which was gonna be how to handle them.
yeah.
I guess, like you said, just kind of be upfront and friendly and cooperative with the cops or whoever else reaches out to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I just obviously introduce yourself first, 100%. Get it out of the way. Show them like you're a real honest person. Like you're not here just to yep, kill them with kindness. Exactly. Exactly, exactly. So you got to do. But yeah, I mean, reach out. I'm happy to like help anyone, even just like analyzing the properties, like with just strictly short-term rental. It's really, really easy to do. And I have an amazing, excuse me, I have an amazing tool that just like shows all the like I can comp all the properties in the area and pull things out that way. So happy to help whenever.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what you're gonna do, especially with all these JVs you're talking about with like on the management, the design side.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited to get that started for sure. I think it's just another easy way to be able to get into the properties because not a lot of people, I mean, even depending on how much like my design fee costs, like if it's a bigger property, like it's expensive, but I can actually bring in the money to pay myself the design for a small like equity position, in that space. So it's kind of like a win-win, you know. We'll see. See how it goes.
I think
But
you
it's
got this.
a lot quicker than trying to find and close and find a private money lender or partner or whatever. And yeah.
And it's way easier. And like you said, it's like that consulting for equity piece, right? Like you already have the experience. I'm also curious to see like the different markets, designs, themes you start cranking out because I'm sure you're gonna get offers in all kinds of crazy places.
Yeah. Well, who knows? We'll see. But I'm really excited for that for
Or you're
sure.
gonna try to keep
I
it
love
all to
design.
like an avatar. Like if I brought you a property, would you be looking at it like, you want it to fit within these certain themes or boxes?
I mean, it has to be able to like be worth it. Like I'm not gonna though it really depends on the location too. Like, I mean,
Guess what
even
I'm asking is all your houses gonna be pink?
no, No,
Not-
like the Virgin Island one's gonna be more gender neutral. So it's gonna be like greens and blues, very tropical with hints of like, like flamingo pink, just a little bit. But no, like I would love to do like even just like straight up college town. That's what I was gonna say is like college town, like just having parents stay in these houses, but like making them really like cool and unique depending on that location as well. Like that would be, I mean, that's a really good opportunity, especially in like the big like D1 schools. I just,
Especially
there's
since
so
you and
many
I are
out
both
there.
in the SEC.
What?
Especially since we're both in the SEC region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, people travel down all the time just to see their kid, and it's not just football, it's all seasonal sports.
Do
So,
you change your approach during the summer though? Because you're talking about school year, and I would assume the summer would be dead in that house, which is interesting because usually summer is the peak season of a short-term rental.
It
yeah, I
is.
mean,
It's
I
good.
haven't looked into it, to be
Mhm.
honest. Like this is literally just me spitfiring,
Yeah.
but I mean, you
So
do have people coming in for like I mean, you got graduations, you got people looking at the proper or the, school, looking to even like go there possibly. I think it just depends on the location again, you
so
know.
funny
Yeah.
story, Emma. I used to own a business in a college town. I actually went to school here in New Orleans and commuted, but I dropped out of college, bought a business that was in Oxford, Mississippi, which is where Ole Miss is. And my favorite months were the summer months because like you're saying, like late May to like early August, there was nobody. It was a desert town. The town
Mhm.
itself was like 25,000 people. Well, Ole Miss's annual enrollment was also about 25,000 people. So when August comes in, all of the major roadways get flooded. The town swells to twice the size. Well, and Bree, you're talking about football and baseball. Think about trying to pack like 100,000 people in a town that's meant for like 50. That's
Hmm.
what it was like. So yeah, it can get crazy. It could definitely be hugely profitable. And Emma, I would say to that point, it's probably just profitable enough that you could market it to like, people are taking admissions tours over the summer, but you're
Or
not
you
worried
could just
about
switch to midterm. Like that's an option too. Is like, like yeah, you're getting kicked out of your dorm. Maybe you just get a short-term
Yeah, I
rental
like that.
with some buddies. Like, do I want college kids living in my place? Probably not. But that's an option too. I don't know. There's so
it.
many options, and that's the thing too, is like you really gotta like analyze, figure it out. But I would not just go into like some random place. I would definitely pick maybe a bigger city, um, that has other things other than just the college. I
I'm
mean,
gonna
but
contradict you on bigger city there. Right before we moved to San Francisco, we lived in a little town called Walla Walla, Washington. I recommend you look it up. So it's on the uh, southeastern corner. You could throw a stone into, Oregon, if you will. It's that close to the border. But they have two colleges there, um, and they're a wine country. The terra of the wine is as close to old world as possible. So
yeah,
the summer months, you have all these people flying, and they have a little airport there that's a jumper plane from Seattle and those areas. So you get that tourists during the summer months, but then you would have college
that's
during the
perfect.
rest of the year. So it's a small town. You wouldn't even know that would be where you may want to look,
Yeah,
except that I live there, and I'm like, this is like the perfect place to
that's
have something like that situated.
exactly. Yeah. Just, like having something that's also going to bring you to the place in the summer to like even it out. Like you said, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That's perfect. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, and like you said too, like Oxford, you probably wouldn't predict, but I watched the hotel rates double. I saw the seasonality. I saw it all go in real time flow. So that's how you know, like, okay, well, if you know the market well enough, I would say yes. But I guess it also leads to Gwendolyn was asking. She said she's got a property she's looking at in a college town where there's a housing shortage and it's right on the beach. She said problem is it's hard to comp.
Ugh, the beach. I'm all about the beach, by the way. Um,
You know. with college towns I'm looking to house freshmen, mom is still hovering, or seniors and grad students that are close to the end, so they're more serious.
For me, just knowing the personality of college, even if your mom is hovering freshman year, like you're trying to break that as much as possible to figure out who you are as an individual. Most schools, I mean, they used to do this anyways. They made it mandatory for you to live on campus for the first year to 2 years,
Yep.
and then you are allowed to be off campus. So you are looking for those individuals closer to graduating or grad school students that would be interested in renting from you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say probably more grad students if you're looking for responsible, because I was a dipshit until I was like 25.
Yeah.
So there's that. I don't know. Any thoughts on
And
that, Brie?
I don't know if this is sexist, but and you could totally correct me if I'm wrong. Women generally get their shit together, if you will, in
Yeah.
college faster than men. And so if you wanted an all women's house for safety and for camaraderie, that might be something that you look towards, having a
Just paint the
gender
door
neutral.
pink.
Yeah, exactly.
Just add some like pink accents. I mean, I would have to like look at the Gwendolyn, I'd have to like look at the property. You're not allowed to do short-term rental there, I'm assuming, because if you just want to do kind of like a co-living situation, it sounds like ish. Let me know. Yeah. I think you'll have to send it to me after this. I can do a little bit analyzing. I think this one is best for a short-term rental. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to strictly be like for that college town, like the theme is the college. I mean, it would be cool,
Yeah.
but like you can just mix it up. Yeah, send it to me. We can talk about it.
And that's how it was for us too in that college town. Everything was either themed after the college or it was themed on the history of the town, because it was like one of those really old kind of like southern like antebellum architecture towns. Like it's just in the middle of nowhere. But that was the appeal to it, you know.
I love it. That's really cool.
Well, cool guys. Any more questions? We'll probably start wrapping this up pretty soon. May have your email. You mind
I
dropping
was
it
gonna
for
say,
Brie?
yeah, I can here. I could just here, my phone. I'll give you my phone number. You all can have my phone number. Call me anytime. I was like, did I spell that or
Call
did I
you
write
maybe.
that? 314-223-3528. Yeah. Yeah, text me and then I can like if you want to send me an email. It's just so much easier to give you my phone number so we can just have like easier conversations. And then I can, if you need to send something email, I can just give you my email that way too. It's so much easier. But yeah. This is fun. I like having these kinds of conversations. It's almost like a little mini mastermind. Our
That's
own
pretty
person.
much what it's all about. We all just come here to learn and grow, and we invite people every week, and like just because you were a guest doesn't mean you can't come back and hang out with us, whenever you see I have another guest that comes on that you want to hear.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I was guest number 1, and I still
Yeah.
choose to come and hang out.
It's Emma's fault that I do this in the first place.
I love it. That's awesome. How long have you been doing this?
14 weeks. We've done one every
Oh, you
single
did say that.
Sunday at the same time, the same place. Like regardless, I just show up and we go just as hard.
Rip.
Whether it's, just the two of us or it's 24 people in here. Doesn't matter.
That's so fun. I love it. Yeah.
Well, Bree, do you mind kind of any final thoughts and telling people where they can find you and, if they want to reach out to you and
Yeah.
JV with STRs?
Yeah, definitely. So you can always message me or shoot me just a comment or whatever on my social media. Social media. Oh my God, why am I blanking? My username is across the board. It's the Dream House Girl. So the Dream House Girl. Yeah, so that's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the stuff. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so you guys have my number as well, so easy to contact. But yeah, just I read and respond to all of my DMs too. So yeah, easy peasy.
She always gets back.
Yeah, eventually. And if I don't soon enough, then just comment on one of the posts and then I'll see it quicker. Because it always hides the DMs sometimes, especially if it's like a new person.
All right, guys, that's the show. You guys know it's getting harder to market these. So if this brought you value, if it made you think, if it made you laugh, if it made you smile, if you want to be on the show, do us a huge favor and just share the show and invite people to come back next week. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yay.